Hi, this is Martin for Revelation Software and welcome to another Open Insight Quick Start Guide video in which we are looking at getting started with Open Insight. Today we're going to be looking at working with index lookups within our clinic application. Now hopefully the screen will look the same as yours if you've been following this series. If it is slightly different, I apologise. This is actually take two on this video. Most of the series I've been doing out of hours, so evenings and weekends, but to get the series finished I've actually taken a day or so whilst also handling email, telephone calls and doing the day job, as well as working on these in the evening. And I don't know quite how, but I've managed to overwrite the index lookup video that I recorded earlier with another video. So we are back to take two on this one. I don't think that anything is going to look or behave any differently if you've been following, and it's not going to affect anything that we're going to do in the next couple of lessons after this one. But obviously if it does, then you'll now know the reason why. So with all of that explanation out of the way, let's get on with this lesson. Going to be working with the patient entry window, and one of the things I need to do first of all is to look at the lookup button, because we don't need that button anymore, so we'll delete that one. Yep, we're going to destroy it, and I want to bring on another button, and we're simply going to call this search. Now I could have modified the button that we had here before, but for this purpose I'm actually going to start off with a completely fresh button. Now we'll make that the same size, so to the minimum height, and we'll just align that to the top, and our ID help are then getting in the way, so let's move that over. Search button doesn't need to be quite so wide, and so we'll just move those over. I'm not going to spend too much time tidying it up, you get the idea. Right, and on this particular search button what we want to do is add some code, so we go into the event handler window for that button. And I'm going to use some code that I've got pre-prepared. It's from another application. Remember, I'm not a professional programmer, I'm more of a code jockey, so I've grabbed this code, or the bulk of this code, from the examples application that ships with Open Insight, and then I've modified it to suit my application. So what we're doing here is declaring some functions, an insert, and then we're going to be displaying two buttons, one saying keyword and one saying listing. And obviously the user will then get the ability to choose one of each of the buttons, and then depending on which button they choose, if their response is button number 2, we're going to go away and we're going to run our pop-up, the one that we created in the previous lesson, our hospital number, and then we'll return that back to the EDL_ID edit line in the form, and we'll send the lost focus event so that it reads the record. If they pick the other button, the keyword button, then what they can do is to search the MP patient table for index fields. Now we're going to be indexing forenames, surname and town, and then we're going to display the hospital number, the forenames, the surname and the town in the little lookup that will come up. They can then select one or more of the options and then return that back to the window, and again we're then going to fire the lost focus so that we can read the record. So once we're happy with that, we'll just compile the code, make sure it compiles OK. Yes, we want to update the event handlers, and mine is already changed to EDL_ID, but just make sure that the edit line for your hospital number is named accordingly, because obviously that code that we've got on that search button is going to write into there. That won't actually work at the moment, that form, so what we'll do is we'll just come out of the Forms Designer and make the changes. And we'll go into the database manager. Now the database manager has an option for utilities, and under there indexes. Don't worry about the others for the moment, we're just interested in indexes, and we can add an index, 4 different types. We can remove, update, or we can list index tables. So if we look at the indexes within the system, you can see the patient here, we haven't got any. Now I said this is take 2, so you might not even have an entry for patient in there. So don't worry if that's not there and you do actually have a look. So let's close out of here, and what we'll do is we'll go back, indexes, add, I'm not 100% sure how all these different indexes work and which is the right one for this and which one the index lookups work against. It may be one or more. So if you're doing this in the real world with a real application, please contact your local Revelation support office and they'll be more than happy to advise you with a qualified answer. For now, I'm going to go with a B tree, and the first thing I need to do is obviously pick my table, which is MP patient, and I'm going to add indexes to forenames. I'll also add it to surname. Okay, that's because I have both selected. You can select multiples together, and I'll also do town. I tend to do them one at a time so I don't get myself confused, but you could just pick multiples and then just add the indexes all in one go. So if I close out of there and I now go back into my indexes and list the index tables, and I can see that I've got 3 indexes on patients, so I'm happy. So let's come out of there and let's just go and test run our application and see what happens. So this time I'm going to hit the search button and I get my little dialog coming up saying whether I want a listing or keyword. We do listing first of all, so I'll click Martin, and then that returns back the record and reads it, so that's great. And I can do search by keyword, and this is the little index lookup that I get. We've got our 3 prompts that we defined: forename, surname and town. So I can grab surname and it gives me all of the surnames that are indexed within the system. So if I choose Smith and OK, then I get the 3 Smiths that we've been working with: Bill, Fred and Abigail. And Abigail's got any town on there, the other 2 are blank. So if I cancel out of there and I redo that search for keyword and I choose Smith and we'll choose any town and OK that, then I just get the 1 back. It's actually filtered out the other 2 Smiths for me. So you can quite easily have multiples within this lookup. So it's a really nice, powerful way of enabling people to do index lookups on your application. So, a nice easy lesson for today. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson coming very soon. Thanks so much for your time today. Bye bye.